All right, episode number 11. Let them know with Joe. We got Jordan. How do you say your last name?
Oelchlager.
Oelchlager. And that's got to be German, right?
Heavy German. It's very difficult to spell. It took me till about 7th grade to be able to do it correctly.
When I was emailing you, it took me a long time to type in your email because your last name is
Oelchlager, yeah.
Oelchlager, and it's really hard to spell.
Yeah, it's good. It's my defense against telemarketers. Like
That's
if they say
true.
Jordan, then I know I can hang up.
Yep. Do you sometimes use that for giving like your number out or something like that? Like, oh, it's Oelchlager, and they'll remember it. Or does it help you a lot in the dating realm?
The long last name that's German?
I feel like that's a good talk. I feel like that's a good talking point, but I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, generally I lose them after I say I'm Jordan
Oelchlager. So you don't say your last name, then you just.
I'm like Jordan O.
Yeah. Okay. Fire. That's fair.
But maybe I shouldn't. I'll try to mix it up next time.
Well, when I say Martinez, they're like, "No, I'm good. I'm out."
Well, the Martinez man, they're like, "Oh, this guy is Latina."
If I say Martinez, they're out. If I say Martinez, they're
then
in.
You're fire, man.
They're in.
Let's go to Taco Bell right now.
All right. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for being on.
No, thanks for having me. I mean, I feel privileged. Episode 11.
1111. The number of good luck if you added another 11 and then you make a wish or something like that.
Is it
1111?
1111. Yeah, I always tried that, but the wishes never came true. Like I'm still waiting for Danae Lardani to come kiss me on the lips.
Oh wow.
It's 4th grade right there.
Someday, bro. Someday.
Cool. She's married, 4 kids. Probably not.
Never mind. That's someday, and I hope never it happens. So I wanted to ask you something really quick because you are a very good-looking man. We've talked about this before. You're in a lot of our chats with our group friends, and you definitely are the best-looking one. I'm a very close second. So
I'm getting red already and lies on the show.
But I wanted to actually talk to you and get straight into this about how has it been being a man that was single during quarantine. I mean, how's that been for you? Because I know we talked about this before, and you're actually dating someone. How's that been?
Yeah, no, good question. I mean, actually, as of about 1 hour and 20 minutes ago, I am single. So maybe you can jump to some other questions here to warm up a little bit here.
That's bad news for you, good news for every other girl that is single right now. I'm so sorry, bro. I had no idea.
Hold on. This is the bourbon. Let me take another sip here before we unpack.
He is sipping on a Bullet bourbon.
Oh.
Is there anything that we should know about what you're sipping on?
This is just some good old bourbon. Bullet is my go-to at a bar, and obviously bars aren't open, so... But I did bring, when I was hanging out with Joe, I brought my own cup that has my name on it. It says Jordan. Because you're making me drink these coffee cups that have your name on it.
I don't make you, bro. You get to.
I get to.
So actually, let's talk about these real quick.
Let's talk about this.
I have yet to have a lot of people purchase one on my site. You can go to my website and purchase a Let 'em Know with Joe mug. So be sure and do that.
Are these are online? I could buy these.
You can go online to my website, letemknowwithjoe.com, and you can buy one of those.
What are these? What's the retail price in this thing?
I believe it's $15.
Okay. But you should know that, man.
Yeah, it's $15. It's $15, but then with shipping, I'm not exactly sure. Just depends where you live.
So let's just put this out there right now. The first 5 people that comment on this video and tag me on Instagram. If they tag at me and they say I want a cup with Joe, I'll buy them.
You heard it here first, people.
First 5
people.
Tag me.
That tag Jordan.
Oh yeah, that's a challenge. Like you can find me on the internet. Oh,
you can find them. Then you're getting a free mug.
All right.
But we are drinking the Allegro coffee. It's been a crowd favorite. I've had it before. It's a dark roast. Intense, smoky, and full. How's that going for you?
Man, it's very very full.
Yeah, it is very full.
Great taste.
I had a bit of a time trying to grind the beans.
You know it's a good roast when it just gets done so smoothly and kind of covers everything in a nice thick coffee.
100%. Anyways, back to what we were talking about before.
Yeah. So back to when you asked me if I was dating someone, then I said,
and you said you're not dating anyone anywhere as of an hour ago.
Hour and 22 minutes now ago. Yeah. I mean, I'm still unpacking it right now.
So was it mutual or?
Yeah. No, I mean,
is it too soon to talk about this right now?
It's maybe too soon to talk about it right now. Maybe like 30 minutes.
30 minutes. We'll talk about some other stuff.
Let me try to frantically
Jordan, figure out my what do you do what do you do as your career right now?
As a career. So I work in healthcare.
Okay.
And I run a medical group. And so I'm an operator. And the simplest way to think about it is there's a business side to physician groups. I work in anesthesia. And so I oversee all the contracts, the billing, all the HR, the legal work. And so for a medical group here in California, that's about 500 physicians.
Jeez.
So it's a
lot of work.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially during COVID. It's been very interesting.
I bet. So have you had to do a lot more work because of COVID, or is it kind of like the same, just maybe less people helping you out?
It just changed the game. Yeah. I mean, more work for sure. Just work I've never dealt before. Being on phone calls with state public health officials talking about the amount of COVID cases we have.
Jeez.
Or I was on a call 2 days ago about here in the East Bay in Oakland, like how many COVID cases and how our ICUs are filling up. And it's just, frankly, being a 30-year-old guy, I have no experience with this and just figuring it out as we go.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I'm thankful for the job. I'm employed.
Yeah, you are employed. I have that app, Citizen app. I don't know if you heard of it, but it gives you all like any kind of it alerts you if there's any kind of crime in your area. So like knows where your location at. Anyways,
so how often does that go off here?
All the time.
Okay, pretty much.
All the time. Yeah. I have to mute it. I actually mute it because there's too many notifications about that. Fires, assaults, all that around here.
I'm hoping they don't break into my car. I mean, what's the odds on that?
No, I haven't. People that have come over haven't had their car broken into yet here.
Okay.
So
I'll let you guys know when this goes live.
Yeah.
That's true or not.
Be sure and tag them, Jordan Oelchlager.
Oelchlager, if you want that 5 free mugs.
But anyways, on that app, it alerted me yesterday that we had another 500 cases of COVID here in Oakland. I'm like, man, it's crazy. It's just doesn't stop.
Yeah, there's a difference between actually cases, people who have been tested positive with COVID and people who are in the ICU. Because that's the thing that we're really scared about, right, is overrunning our ICUs. So COVID's super controversial. COVID, we're still learning about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's just adding another layer of stress on all of us in ways that we may or may not fully appreciate right now. So for me, I've kind of gotten numb because every day I get this email about COVID numbers. And I get this email about another doctor getting, COVID or something like that. And still unpacking, whether this is all a hoax, whether this is a real problem, whether this
You think it's a hoax? But you're in the medical realm. I mean, you see more than what we can see.
Yeah, but you turn on your TV, you can see as many different scenarios or situations of the same fact as you want. Do I think it's a hoax? No. You should wear your mask. You should take the right steps. Am I hoping it's a hoax? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I hope that in 6 months we say that wasn't nearly as bad as we thought it was.
The thing about it is we've had so many deaths. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, okay, yes, the flu kills more. I get that. I understand that. But still, it's a lot of deaths for a new strand of the flu, I guess. I mean, it can't be a hoax if people are dying from it.
Yeah.
Right? Or is it?
I mean, once again, I don't think it is a hoax.
Yeah.
I hope it is because that means we're going to get past it soon here. But I mean, people are dying and, there's some serious concerns and our hospital systems are trying to figure out how to deal with it. And the hard reality is like, the cure is not going to happen in, any time in the next 6 months. And so we're going to just, it's going to be an interesting time for the world. Something we haven't appreciated on this side of the 21st century. Especially with like news and people are aware of all these things. Like in the previous plagues, people had no idea that was going on, right? Like it just kind of happened.
Have you seen the pictures? I don't know. I don't know how often you're on social media. I feel like you're not on too much.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to up it up. I'm on MySpace now, pretty heavy.
Oh, geez. Yeah, MySpace.
Still looking for another top 1 or 2 for my top 8. Tom's up there, but
definitely has to be.
He needs some friends.
But I saw the other day that there was like pictures of the other plague that happened back. I don't know what plague it was, but there was old pictures of them saying wear your mask, and like it was still the same battle then that we're having now, where it's like people didn't want to wear masks then, and they're like they would actually get. I feel like back then they were getting more trouble because like it was like more of a legal thing, and they were making them do that.
Right.
But here it's like the same thing.
Believe me, I'm not comfortable wearing a mask all the time either. But hey, wearing a mask is not about you or I. It's for other people. So like, wear a mask.
Wear a mask, people. It's not political. We're not trying to control you.
Yeah, I mean, we can get political later, but not about masks.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell me, Joe. I mean, real quickly here.
Okay,
I mean, you start this conversation off by trying to understand my love life and realizing. I guess.
Wait. Before we go there.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you though, with your career and you're working more.
Yeah.
Have you had like a lot of layoffs in y'all's area or in there, and if that, have you like taken a hit yourself or anything like that?
Yeah.
On your team?
I mean, COVID's impacted the world's economy.
Yeah.
I mean, and even as a person in a healthcare organization, we've not been separated from that. So, yeah, we've had to deal with a lot of challenges as an organization. I mean, back in like March, we had to do our first round of furloughs and comp adjustments. So we all took like a 25% comp reduction. Wow. Our clinicians took a 30% reduction, and that was back when we had no idea what COVID would do and how long we're gonna stop having elective cases and surgery. And since then, we've been able to reinstate our clinician comp, which is great news. That's good. Back to 100%, and still working on the administrative comp component. But no one is free from being impacted from COVID. Yeah. Both, from a healthcare perspective, financial, social. So it's going to change kind of, our world.
It's changed already, even in sports, which is crazy.
Yeah, you watched the Dodgers game last night?
I'm not a Dodgers fan, but I did see them destroy the Giants.
It was a little weird, you watch it. There's no one there, and they had the fake pictures.
Yeah. It was weird. It was cool. I'm actually missing the Astros game right now, which is going on.
Oh, I don't even care about the Astros. I mean, the only team that people should watch in baseball is the Minnesota Twins.
I didn't even know they were still a franchise, to be honest.
You know what? Kirby Puckett, ever since those days, we've been really just leading the charge. We've got the biggest fan base in the United States. Yeah, I don't even know who the Yankees are.
The fan base, whenever people say we have the biggest fan base, that means they're not very good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By fan base, we mean like we encourage each other when we lose.
Yeah, for sure.
We all go to the bar together and get sad.
Well, to be honest, it's been a hard time for me to be an Astros fan just because of the whole cheating allegations, which have come out, I guess, true. It's still hard for me to say, but I'm still a fan. People have asked me, "Are you gonna not be a fan of the Astros anymore?" I'm like, no, you can't not be a fan of your team. Like, yeah, cool. They did something stupid. I get that. Like, it was stupid, but I'm still gonna support them.
That's good for you, Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're a loyal fan. That's right.
You have to be, bro.
We'll see. I mean, I'll ask you in a couple of years to see if you still are when you find out about more allegations from the Astro organization.
They're done, bro. They're gonna win the World Series, and it's gonna be great.
If we're talking about the Little World Series, yeah, maybe they have a shot.
Come on, bro. Anyways, what were you going to ask me? Yeah, you're going to ask me a question.
Well, I was going to ask you about your love life.
Yeah.
So I watched an episode a while ago, but you talking about your relationships and your love life and some of the experiences. So I'm just curious, has COVID given you opportunities to find some love here in the East Bay?
COVID is weird, because my opportunities to find love have definitely shrunk a lot, in regards to like the way I would rather meet people is in real life.
Yeah.
So then you start turning into these dating apps, and they're cool, and you have chats with girls on there, and it's like even today I was chatting with this girl, which is, anyways, and like we're having a conversation, and I'm like asking the questions, trying to keep it going. And she's answering them and right away, but like finally, I was like, I'll answer her back to see if she's gonna ask me a question, and she doesn't. She's kind of like just says, "Oh yeah, that's really cool" or something, without no question back. So I'm like, "Oh yeah, well, what do I do next?" You know what I mean? It's like I hate those games, but I don't know if she realizes she's doing them. You know what I mean? Because you don't ever know. You can't read people.
That's the game, man. Yeah, people want to act like there's not a game, and there always is.
You think the girl? She's trying to get me to keep asking her questions?
Well, I mean,
I feel like she is.
People like attention, both guys and girls, and
sure.
And I guess when there's silence, you understand who's into it and who's really not into it. But it's a dating app. So the question is right now, I mean, are you sliding into DMs on Instagram? Is this Craigslist? Lovers?
Wow,
Is this something on, like, is this a Tinder situation? I mean, this can kind of help me understand whether you're, going to have some good luck here or not.
Like, the only DMs that I slide into would be like girls that I know.
Okay.
That I might be interested in.
Girls you know. That's okay.
It wouldn't be like a random girl.
So, just question for you.
Okay,
I love spinning the wheels. I'm asking the questions here. So, what is your go-to slide into a DM line?
Jeez.
That is.
Well, it's usually not a line. So it's usually I'm usually answering something on their story. So that's how I kind of go.
So is that really sliding into DMs?
I don't know. Is it? Or sliding into DMs is just a random. You go straight in. No, not from a story.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to check Wikipedia what defines sliding into DMs, but I feel like if you respond to a story, like, that's just, I don't know. I don't think that counts. Sliding a DM seems like when you're actually, putting together a series of words or a joke that's going to, attract their attention.
Yeah, I guess you might be right, because I think what I do is a safe route, because I'm answering their story. So it's like I'm not really trying, like, I'm not making them see that I'm interested too much. It's just more of like a safe message.
And the question for girls is, do they like this guy coming in safe? Because like, if you post something on the internet as a story, I guess I'm on this platform, it's Instagram. Like, you're kind of wanting people to respond to you, right? True. So like, that's what they're looking for.
Like, even for me, when people respond to my stories, I don't think they're interested in me. I just think, man, I feel like I'm learning something right now.
So then why would you expect a different result from the opposite sex?
I know. I'm thinking that right now.
So maybe, so what I'm going to just right now put a definition of sliding DMs is only when you're not responding to a story, but you're just like, you're going cold turkey into some situation.
Wow.
It might be a girl that has zero mutual friends with you.
Jeez.
Except The Rock, because everyone should follow The Rock.
Yeah, true. Why should they follow The Rock?
I'm just a huge fan.
Are you actually?
I am. I mean,
like, I'm a fan of him. I'm not a fan of his movies, because I feel like every single movie that he does is just that will not actually happen in real life. And I love movies that I know can happen in real life.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? So like,
I hear you.
I love Fast and Furious, but when they added him and started making them like I forgot. I think it's number 5 when they
brought him in heavy.
Yeah, and then they still that is it still that safe from the bank? Is that the
that was a little crazy.
And like they drive it around the city, like, that can't happen. You know what I mean? Like, I wish it could. I wish it could, but it can't happen.
I mean, if you think that Fast and Furious 1 or 2 could happen, we might have to question your education here. I mean, it's cool. I like to drive my little Honda Civic underneath semis as well.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, to be fully transparent, I don't actually follow The Rock, but you should. And I'm going to follow him later today, so I don't sound like a hypocrite.
I'm not going to follow him.
What I do think he's funny, and I think he's pretty good about, is just his story is pretty fire. Yeah. And his character is predictable, which for me, like, when I watch a movie, like, I just know that I'm going to laugh when The Rock's in it. And, I've always wanted to have the control of the eyebrow that The Rock has.
Same. That was fire.
So, like,
did you watch wrestling when you were a kid?
I wasn't allowed to.
Really?
My parents, pretty conservative parents.
Wow.
So, I mean,
I loved wrestling when I was a kid, and that's because my parents were pastors.
So they were into that.
I don't know.
Did they know you watched wrestling?
I think they knew. Yeah, pretty sure they knew.
Were they? Okay.
They were conservative for sure, like very conservative. But I think they knew wrestling was okay because it was fake.
Got it.
But I don't know. I'll ask them whenever I see them next, or talk to them on the phone.
Yeah, we gotta know whether they knew you were.
But I wanted to ask you though, do you slide into DMs or no?
Do I?
I feel like you don't have to. I feel like girls slide into your DMs.
Oh goodness.
What's the ratio?
I'm not commenting on that. Have I slid into DMs? Absolutely.
Okay.
Back when Facebook was a thing.
Ooh.
And
still is, man.
It still is. You're right.
For plenty of people.
Yeah, for plenty of people. I had a pretty fire line that I would slide into. I'm not saying it worked, but like I thought at age 23 that this line was fire.
You gotta tell us now.
Yeah, so this is the line, and I want to make sure that I'm gonna just go for it. So I would send it on a blind person I've never known before, and I'd say, "Hey, chances are you get 20 messages from guys every day with lines like this, but just in case that you actually are still reading this, my name is Jordan. I'm 23 years old. I have a golden retriever named Stella, and I'm
a-
learning on loving sushi, and I'd love to take you out.
That's fire.
And
Did it work sometimes?
I think when you say like something like chances are you've already deleted this message, or chances are you get 40 of these. I don't know, like some of them would respond back with like, ha ha ha, that's the worst line ever. And then I'd self-deprecate. My humor is a lot of time making fun of myself. Right. And so I'm not saying, I would say like, I'd shoot that shot and maybe like 30% of the time I got a response, but
fair.
Hey, 30% of the time it worked, I mean, 100% of the time.
Yeah. It works 100% of the time, 30% of the time.
Yeah. Thank you.
But did you get a date from that ever?
I did.
You did?
I did. I actually, I got an awesome girl that I talked to for a while, and it was really cool. As a result of that line, if she's watching this, she's going to be, she'd call me up and say, wait, that was not just a one-time line. I'd be like, come on, I sold it to my friends. Are you kidding me? When you get something that works,
yeah, you gotta
give it to the people.
You have to, bro.
I just probably got like 400 people that are hating me now.
Oh yeah, I want to try it out too.
Yeah, try it out. I don't think that's a good line anymore.
What was I gonna say? Oh man, I had something I was gonna ask you.
While you're thinking about that, I'm just gonna comment on this coffee. It's just great. It's late at night, and I normally don't drink coffee past 5 p.m. because now I'm going to be up till 4 a.m. This has got a great, smooth finish. You really can tell that you French pressed it very well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you steeped it for just the right amount of time.
I time what I do.
You do? Okay.
I set my timer on my phone and make sure everything's up to par every time.
Got it. So tell me about these new mics. I was on your Instagram yesterday, and I saw a picture of these new mics. I was like, wow.
They're the Rode Pod mics. My brother had mentioned them to me because I asked him to look into some better mics for my show. My brother knows a little bit more about audio and stuff and music than I do.
What's your brother's first name?
Steven Martinez.
Steven Martinez.
Shout out to Steven, my brother. Older brother. Shorter than me. Him and his wife have a kid.
Okay.
He just turned 2. He was born premature, but he's killing it and
really
still doing well.
That's awesome.
Actually, all of my nephews have been born premature, which is 3 of them, which is pretty crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. All Stevens?
No, 2 from my sister, younger, and then 1 from my older sister-in-law.
So are you the only one?
I'm the only one that's single and with no kids in my family.
Got it.
Right now.
So how does that feel when you go home for Thanksgiving?
Look, I sleep peacefully at night. I don't have to worry about cleaning up after them. I can go hang out with some of my friends that have kids that are in Texas when I go visit.
Big Tex.
I can stay out as late as I need to. I don't have to worry about my kids, but I don't have anybody to go to bed with at night, and sometimes I do cry.
Man, it really got emotional.
Like,
want to talk about it for a little bit?
It's good and it's bad. Like for me, I would definitely love to have someone, to be with, like, to hang out with and show my hometown to, which would be great. I can't wait for the day to be able to do that and be like, hey, this is my school that I grew up in, and that I got in trouble and all that. But to be honest, like, I've come to the realization that culture has changed a lot from when my friends and my parents before, like, they were kind of taught to get married early.
Right.
Get married, to someone there in your hometown, stay there and all that. And I've learned, like, man, there's so many people that are my age that are still single and that are, actually, I'm not saying they're not enjoying life, that they're married and have kids. Like, they definitely are. I think it's great. Kids are a gift and all that. But I'm also enjoying life too, we can travel whenever we want.
Right. We
can do whatever we want, We can flirt with whoever we want to, which I'm kind of scared in the future because I flirt a lot, like, especially when you go out to eat and there's like a really beautiful waitress and you're like, you kind of flirt around with her and all that.
Okay.
And they love it. I don't know if you do that or not.
No, my mom told me to respect my waitresses.
No, I don't disrespect them. What do you think flirting is?
I don't know. You slapping them in their butts? No.
Or? Bro, I will never do that to any girl unless she's my wife or my girlfriend. But no, me, like, asking her, like, what's the best thing, and then start, like, making her laugh and all that. It's just like stuff like that, little things like that.
Got it.
Whatever. But, like, I feel like once I get, like, a girlfriend, I gotta like make sure and stop myself from doing it because it's been a habit for me for the longest time.
I don't think you'll have to worry about that. I mean, Because when you find that girlfriend or that girl that you care about or that you're really interested in, like the other girls are just, you don't even notice them. I mean, at least for myself, like when you find someone that captivates you and that is someone that you can share conversations with and life with and go to have dinner with. I mean, especially when it's kind of in a God-centered way. I just think the other people, they're still there. They're still attractive. But like, you know, why would you want to waste something when you have something so beautiful next to you? I
told this girl that today on Instagram.
You did?
Yeah.
You slid into her DMs and said that?
Well, I didn't slide into her DMs. I answered one of her stories.
Oh, okay. So
I told her, I was like, hey, anytime you post pictures with other girls, I don't look at any of them. I only look at you.
That's pretty good. What did she say back to that?
She doesn't, I don't know. I haven't looked at my phone since.
Okay.
It's actually being used to record, so I can't look at it.
So we can't look.
Actually, I may look on here, but I'm not going to.
You want to tell me her name or?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I want to say one more thing, Joe, because you were talking, then you can go down your list of questions. But when you were talking earlier about like being, you know, we're both 30 and we're still single, and you're right. Like I think there was a period of time where at least my parents, where everyone was getting married earlier, especially if you're in conservative circles. You're from Texas, I'm from Minnesota. But the reality is like, hey, the Lord's plan for us is like, you have no idea when you're supposed to find the right person. The most important thing though is waiting for that right person. Yeah. And maybe you're just still getting, you know, worked on and preparing for that right person. And that person has maybe is in your life and maybe it's still have to be there, but it's always worth waiting for that right person versus rushing into something just to have that.
I agree.
That person to sit next to at Thanksgiving.
I agree. And that's very real, because I know that if I were dating anybody last year, the year before last, even this year, I wouldn't be able to give them what I want to be able to give them. Right. You know, like, you know, the best of their attention, the best of my attention and the time for them and all that. It's just these past few years and the season that I've been through, these last years here in the Bay, it's just been, for me, a learning, growing, everything season. It's been crazy, but I think maybe in 2021, it's going to be fire, bro. It's going to be a good one.
And you're preparing for that moment, you know, like and for me, I'd rather make as many of my mistakes right now
100%.
While I'm single and figure out more about myself. So when I find that person, and maybe she's in my life, maybe she's to enter my life, like that I'm ready, that I'm like, you know, I'm making the best Jordan I can. And we're not behind, man. We're on the path that the Lord has for us.
Yeah. I did want to ask you though, I've asked people this before. I wanted to hear, because there's so many different opinions on this word dating. Ooh. What does dating actually mean to you? Because people will say when you've said that you're boyfriend and girlfriend, and it's now like you're not going on dates and all that, or is dating before you say you're a boyfriend or girlfriend? It's just those dates you go on before, and then you make things official. You know, what is your definition of dating?
What's my definition
of dating?
All right, that's a great question.
Yeah.
So, it's funny. I went to a private prep school, college prep school for K through 12. And my mom, when I was like 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grade, she'd always ask me like, "Why aren't you going on dates?" And she would reflect upon her days as a child, and she was a cheerleader, and she's always going on dates with people. And for her, a date wasn't, you know, making out with someone after coffee or something like that. It was just like going out with someone, an individual, single, one-on-one, having a good time. And so, and she'd always be like, "Jordan, you should take those girls. There's so many pretty girls. Take them on a date." And I'd be like, "No, Mom, because if I take them out, then this rumor mill will spread. Yeah, and then I'm talking to them. And then, it's just crazy, right?"
Yeah.
But for me, the definition of a date is when you intentionally ask a girl to do anything.
Right.
And so...
I know the definition of a date, but what's the definition of dating?
So I could say the same thing when you're repeating multiple dates with someone.
Okay.
I don't think you're dating after you become... I think boyfriend, girlfriend is generally a step after you're dating for a while.
Because my thoughts were this. Would you go on multiple dates with other girls when you're dating somebody? You know what I mean? Quote, air quotes, if those are not watching the video when I said dating.
Yeah. So you're basically saying if I'm dating someone.
Yeah. So like, because you said dating is more of like, you're not official yet, but you're going on dates. Yeah. So that's dating. Would you go on, would you be dating someone else, or would you even do that? Or would you kind of just focus your attention on one person? You know what I mean?
So to my strict definition, I would say that if you're dating someone else, you go on dates with other people. based on my definition. Myself, I could never do that. I mean, once I'm going on multiple dates with someone and quote unquote telling people I'm dating her,
right?
Which means I'm getting to know her. I'm trying to establish, and every girl's different. Every guy's different.
Yeah.
I could never go. I mean, I would just not feel okay about like talking to her and then like texting someone else on the side. That just would make me feel rotten.
Sure, 100%. I agree with that. I guess it'd be more in the beginning stages. So like, let's say you had. I'm just throwing out some. I'm throwing out some.
Throw out some numbers here. Some situations.
Numbers. Let's say there was 3 girls that you're interested in.
Sure.
You haven't gone on a date with any of them. In the next 3 weeks, would you try to go on a date with one of them and kind of see, who you're vibing with better? Or would you kind of just like think of one that you might like more than the other one and just be like, put my time and effort in this one?
So this is super dangerous, and I'm probably going to get a bunch of people who hate me and think I'm a terrible person. But like, so many battles relationship-wise are fought in the mind.
Yeah.
And before you even step foot to going on that date or going to have coffee or having a beer or whatever your style is, you've already like jumped to marriage, or you've jumped to will she fit in with my family?
Right.
And they missed the whole purpose of a date. They've missed the whole purpose of dating, which is just getting to know someone.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't think a girl or a guy is fully themselves until like after going on like 3 or 4 dates. I mean, the first date, you're just thinking like, at least I'm thinking like, please God, don't let me sweat through my shirt. Right. I'm thinking like, Lord, help me. I hope there's nothing up my nose.
Bro. Like, my biggest fear, or one of my biggest fears, is because I have a really bad, I got to use the restroom all the time. And
yeah, man, nervous peer.
And so like for me is like, man, we'll have to go during now, or like it's just kind of embarrassing to keep going all the time, when you're around them. Like, so, but I feel like my bladder's gotten better during COVID.
You just gotta. That means you're dehydrated. So I also have the world's smallest bladder, and it's just one of the first fast facts I reveal to them. Yeah. I'm like, look, I just want to be transparent with you. It's something very important to me. And they look at me pretty intently normally, and they're like, they expect me to say something like really intense. And I'm like, I have the world's smallest bladder. And they laugh. But then like, just turn your biggest insecurities into like, strengths.
One of the biggest questions I ask when I go like on a first date, I'll be like, hey, look, I got this really big question. I want to make sure like this is really, this is key to my heart, and I really want to know, And I was like, do you put pineapple on pizza?
Oh, jeez.
And if they say yes, then they're out automatically. Like, I'll be like, all right, cool. Let me go to the restroom, and I just jet and I leave.
Strong move. That's a good move. I agree with you. Like, what is
pineapple does not belong on pizza.
What does a fruit doing on a pizza, bro?
Thank you.
I mean, I'm gonna have to agree with you.
I love pineapple. Pineapple was one of my favorite fruits of all time. Like,
yeah,
it's fire. Like, if it's a hot summer day and you're really hot and you have the cold pineapple,
say no more,
bro. I'm done. But do not put it on my pizza.
So the confusing thing though is, so fruit shouldn't be on pizzas, but then we think like tomatoes technically are fruit, and so like that gets super political and philosophical. I don't want to unpack that tonight because you have a pizza tattoo on your arm.
I have a pizza tattoo on my arm.
But we need some science behind this.
Yeah. So I think we should just say it, and I think I'm gonna throw some random percentage out, but I'm pretty sure 95% of people in this world believe that pineapple does not belong on pizza, and the other 5% that do believe that do not belong to be on this earth.
Strong. I don't know if I want to join you in that kind of situation, but like I think you should have an opinion, and I embrace that, man.
You were raised in Minnesota.
I was raised in Minnesota. Yeah.
How do you say it? Minnesota. It snows a lot there, right?
Yeah. I mean, when you're from the Midwest, people just think it's the greatest place ever. The thing is, there's only about 15 of us that are actually from Minnesota. We have a very small population up there.
Yeah, true.
We have more people than North Dakota, but just barely. So there's 5 people in North Dakota, 15 in Minnesota. Yeah, we got that weird accent,
Yeah, it is a bit weird. How do you say? What do you say? Fargo account? Fargo accent? Sorry.
Oh, the Fargo. Yeah, Minnesota. Like no one even knew it was a state until like 10 years ago when that show Fargo came out, and then everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, like your accent," because people think we say words incorrectly.
Well, you do, for sure.
I don't think we do. I think just
Texans say it correctly all the time.
Like, so the word that's most controversial, there's two. One is the word, I'm going to spell it first, B-A-G.
Bag.
Yeah, it's clearly bag.
No, y'all say that?
Bag.
No, that's bag. So you're begging for stuff.
No, it's a bag. Like, hey, give me a bag so I can put this cup and the 5 cups I'm going to buy for those people that tag me on this story. Get, and I never understood. People just think that I'm saying it wrong. And I'm like, no, it's bag.
Yeah, wow.
And the other phrase, for example, is, what's those mythical creatures that have like,
Loch Ness?
Dragon.
Dragon?
Yeah. Say that again.
Dragon.
Yeah. I just think you're saying it incorrectly. It's dragon.
No.
It's
Dragon?
Yeah.
There's no E in it.
It's dragon. Anyways, we're going to agree to disagree.
A-A-R. The three ways you say A is A-A-R.
The 3 words you say A
no,
is
not the 3 words. The 3 pronunciations of the letter A could be A-A-R.
What about actually the letter A?
I did say that. A-A-R.
What about A?
A.
I think we should just move on to the next question here. So. I mean, I just don't think we're going to find a common ground here.
Are you a fan of the Minnesota Vikings?
Big fan of Minnesota Vikings.
Oh yeah, you went to a game last year.
I went to the playoff game last year.
How was that?
It was sad.
Yeah, I know.
Similar to a Twins fan myself, when you're a fan of Minnesota sports, you get very good at losing.
Yeah.
So we're really good at just cheering each other on.
I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, so I've been pretty good at losing for the past 20 years.
But you also had a very strong series of time where you were good at winning.
Yeah.
So we just don't know what that feels like.
And then I'm a Spurs fan.
Oh, okay.
Basketball.
Okay.
So we've had
That's confusing.
We've had our few years. Well, I'm from a small town in Plainview, so we have no sports where I'm at.
Why do you choose Spurs over the Mavs? Or
let me explain
Rockets?
that to you. So I chose the Spurs because my parents both did college and they met in San Antonio.
Okay.
And they became Spurs fans there.
Fair enough.
And so when I was a kid, I grew up watching the Spurs with them. They went to some of the playoff games whenever they were doing really well in 99, 97. And so ever since then, I've always just been watching them. And they're great. I love them. Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Avery Johnson.
It's a strong team
Bruce
back
Bowen
then.
back then. Even, Tim Duncan, Manny Ginobili. He went to the Hornets. He's done now.
My basketball knowledge is very weak.
Oh, jeez. Anyways, he's from France.
Ooh, you should know that.
Yeah, I know. I forgot.
That's right. You can edit that out, right?
And then we had Kawhi Leonard, but he went to the Clippers and this whole fiasco. He went to Toronto, then the Clippers, but
gotta love Canada.
Yeah, no, not really. Only for Justin Bieber. He's a legend. Voice of our generation.
Big fan of JB.
Yeah, same.
Big fan of JB. He spoke to me. He still does.
How long were you living in Minnesota for?
So I lived in Minnesota up until I graduated high school, and then went to college in Indiana, and then moved back to Minnesota. And I bought a house there. I did what you do as a conservative young man. You buy a house, you get a job, and you start looking for a wife. A few of those worked out. The wife is still not working out. I think I just got to work on that DM phrase. I just got to fine tune that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, then so I lived in Minnesota till I was 25, 26, and then I took a leap of faith and got a job opportunity down in South Florida. And so I moved down there, went to grad school.
Oh wow.
At the great school of Duke.
Nice.
Now I'm forever a Duke fan. But yeah, I mean, there's not a bigger difference. It's just a huge difference between Minnesota conservative values and then moving to South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Miami.
Yep.
As a white male who's skinny and has never seen a pool party before. So I've learned a lot, and now I'm here in California. So we're figuring it out.
Yep, that you are. Man, I feel like Miami's just a fun place to live. It looks like it's fun.
Have you been yet?
I've never been.
Fort Lauderdale, Miami was such a fun time. I mean, it was. So I remember my mom and me drove our moving truck down there together, and I moved in this place on downtown Fort Lauderdale. It's a 25-story apartment unit, and I remember me and my mom moved in. She helped me, and then I remember on a Saturday, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go check out this pool because it's middle of December.
As you do.
And Minnesota, it's freezing.
Right.
Miami, it's warm. And I go down there and like, it's just like boom, boom, boom. There's like music going. There's like people giving out beers and all this stuff. And like, I saw for the first time in my life, like these people doing lines of cocaine in the corner. And like, wow. I just like, you just see like bathing suits in Fort Lauderdale or Miami are very different than bathing suits in Minnesota. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Like if you even call it that, a bathing suit down in Miami. And like, I was just like I'm not in Kansas anymore. And so, needless to say, I learned a lot and changed a lot.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It's a fun place.
Do you feel, because you lived in Miami and then came over here, how long have you been here in California? For about a year now, right? Or two? Or
I've lived out here for a year and a half. I was working out here for about 9 months before, so I've been out here for about 2 years.
Okay. Do you feel like your political views and stuff like that have changed being, because I know for me, you know, I lived in a small country town in Texas, Plainview, Texas. Shout out to the Plainview Bulldogs. You know, lived there till I was 23, and then moved to Sydney, Australia, and then lived there till I was 26.
Okay.
And then moved out here.
Yeah.
I've been here for almost 3 years now.
Wow.
But I feel like my perspective of politics and my perspective of things in the U.S. have changed a lot. Sure. But like, to be honest, I love it because I have a lot of friends on Facebook. And I still go on Facebook and I see what they're saying. And, you know, I hear their point of view, and then I hear the point of view of people here. And it's just, I enjoy it because I'm able to create my own opinion.
Right.
And just kind of move forward with that. But a lot of times when you create their own opinion, no one's really going to agree with it. So it's like, I don't ever say anything online anyways about my political views anymore, because I know that, you know, someone's going to say something. Like even now, if I post something about even wearing a mask, someone's like, no, they're controlling us, I'm not going to wear a mask. And I'm like, whatever. Okay, cool. But do you feel like that's kind of affected you as well? Or
so it's interesting. Like, you know, a lot of us, our political views are first formed by our families, grew up in the environment we're in. And then they slowly shift with the environment that we're in. And going from Minnesota, then I lived in Indiana for 4 years, and then Florida, and now in California. Like I lived in Texas for a little bit.
Hey,
shout out to Dallas. You realize how like those opinions and situations, and just as you see more and more of the world and meet more people, it just changes your view. Yeah. And I don't think it's a matter of right or wrong. I just think it's a matter of just, you know, perspective on situations. Does living in California, does everyone see eye to eye with what I think? No, absolutely not. Like, not. I think most people here have different views than me. Yeah. But like, I'm okay with that. Like, I think diversity is a good thing. I think people disagreeing in the right way through conversations is a good thing. That's the cool thing about our country. You know, that you can actually, like, me and you can disagree about something, and it doesn't mean that like we have to hate each other. It just means that like, hey, look, like maybe if we have a conversation about one of us can advance our thoughts. And
for sure. And I think that's the whole thing about it, is having the conversations and not like, my opinion is right, or I don't want to hear what you got to say. It's like, no, let's hear each other out. And that's how you have dialogue, and that's how you're able to even move forward. But one thing I learned once I moved from Texas to Australia is having an open mind.
Right.
If you don't have an open mind, you're screwed the rest of your life, because you're not able to like make up your own opinion and decisions, because now the closed-mindedness is an opinion, and you have an opinion from someone else that has dictated your life from the beginning. Not saying it's bad, you know, because like, but I think having an open mind helps you to learn and create your own opinion.
Right.
Right.
Well, I think I'm a Christian guy, and I think it's biblical, but I also think just in life, like we're on a continued journey of learning.
Yeah, for sure.
And to think at age, like I'm 30 now, but to think at age 25 that I understood politics perfectly and I knew exactly is naive. And to think I understood what the difference between a Republican or Democratic or a Libertarian or whatever else you want to put in there. Like I continue to learn, and I want to surround myself with people that are going to challenge me. I don't want to surround myself with people that look just like me and think like me, because that doesn't lead me to any better understanding. So interesting times for us though, brother.
Very interesting. I'm learning a lot, to be honest. I'm just trying to soak it all in and, you know, be able to see what happens moving forward, and maybe help be part of the movement and be part of the change that we need to see in the future. You know, that's why this podcast is going to.
That's what I hope, right?
So West Coast to the West Coast?
Yeah, I mean, just to be honest, the West Coast is definitely better.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, we have mountains.
We do. A lot of mountains.
Beautiful mountains. We got the warm weather. Got no humidity.
Miami has a lot of humidity.
Oh my gosh. I mean, man, me and you are the same. We're white people. I mean, I just sweat just thinking about it. None of that over here.
When I was in Texas, we didn't have too much of humidity because we didn't have very much moisture.
Yeah.
A lot of droughts there.
No.
But kind of sucked. But
desert.
We had dry heat, and I liked it better because I was a mailman, so I didn't sweat as much when I had dry heat compared to. But it was sometimes whenever the summer days, whenever it rained the day before, and then the next morning it's sunny, and you're walking outside at 9 a.m. and the sun's coming up and it's all wet on the grass. Oh yeah. You can definitely know that your mail is soaked with sweat because I'm having to carry the mail with one hand. It's just sweating underneath, bro. It's crazy because I had magazines and like the ink would just get on my arm because I had to carry the magazines as I walk.
Yeah, that's why sometimes I can't read who my letters are from.
Yeah, that's
the
our fault.
Martinez effect.
Yeah, it's our fault. That's fire, bro. I think the West Coast is really great. There's so much to do around here. You can drive a few minutes away and go hiking and some great hikes close by.
It's such a cool place. I mean, like, so growing up in the Midwest, I grew up in a family that loved hiking and camping. And to this day, it's still like an important part of my life. And we would wait all of the year for the summertime to drive out to California or Colorado just to go hiking for a week. And for me now, like, it's literally like, 15 minutes away. Like, I just get to jump in my Jeep and go. And like, it's important to remember those great things you have in front of you.
For sure. So. I think it's great, man, because for me, we never had that in Texas. It's flat. There's nowhere to hike. There's, so I never really gone hiking before in Texas. Like, first time I went hiking was in Australia because there were mountains over there. So I went hiking over there. And then here, it's like, it's so cool. There's so many places to hike. There's an ocean, There's no ocean in Texas. Oh, there is, but not where I'm from. Right. I have to drive like 13 hours to go to the
Gulf.
Ocean. Yeah, the Gulf.
Ocean.
Corpus Christi, somewhere around there. But yeah, man, I definitely feel grateful to be out here and enjoy, like, San Francisco is a beautiful city, despite, sometimes it looks like crap because of just a bunch of other stuff, but it's still a beautiful city and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the cool thing, and you can probably appreciate this too, living in 2 different continents and stuff, is just, it's so easy to focus on what you don't have in your city you're living in, and it's just way better in life just to look like what we have. Like, I lived in Indiana in a town called Marion for 4 years, and my apartment like butted up to a cornfield, and I was able to find, benefits of living there. And I think life perspective is way better if you say, oh, wow, like, I get this or I got this. And so California has many things to be thankful for. Yeah,
for sure. We've chatted about this before, and, we even had like we had like an hour, maybe 2 hour long class, you would say, with you. You talked about, stocks and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
Money. Yeah.
It's hard.
We're not talking about that right now.
It's a smooth transition.
But what I wanted to ask you was, you've done pretty great things in your life, and I feel like you're not to where you want to be, but you're definitely at a great place right now in life. Successful career wise. Even with your finances, I've learned a lot from you, and you've learned a lot from Dave Ramsey, which is the same guy that we listen to a lot. How have you gotten to this place right now that, where you're, I don't know, do you feel like you're a bit content right now? Like, not like content in a meaning like you're done, you're good to go, but like content is like, I'm good right now. I definitely want to go somewhere else and be better and, continue to keep growing. But, contentment, I think, is a great place to be at times too. How have you gotten there? Well,
I think contentment is actually a practice. Yeah. It's not a destination.
For sure.
It's something you practice along the way. And, I'm super thankful. Yeah. I mean, I have much to be thankful in my current situation, but that didn't happen just because I'm in this current situation. That happened 10 years ago before I was in this spot. And just practicing the art of looking for things to be thankful for. Yeah. And looking then for ways that I can just use those good things to help others has always been helpful for me. And I think the biggest thing, I was talking to a guy the other day about this, a guy I'm mentoring. The biggest thing I've learned, and that has been a really good practice in my personal life and professional life, has just been the roles of mentors and allowing people to speak into my life and asking them, actually feedback. It's so good to look for mentors or people in your life that just give you praise, that agree with everything you're doing. It's a far better practice to find people that are going to challenge you.
For sure.
And I have a few mentors I'm very thankful for that have just encouraged me and encouraged me, hey, don't buy that new car. Hey, don't buy that new house. Don't do this. Don't buy that Rolex. Like, save. And that has allowed me now at age 30 to be where I'm at.
Right.
I'm not here because I did anything right. I mean, I did some things right, but it's just
sure.
the people that have gone before me. It's the Lord's, providence in my life. And
well, it's wisdom, because I feel like, of course, you've learned from other people, which is wisdom. That's a huge thing, because now
sure.
you're able to make the decisions. But it's because of people that have maybe made the wrong choice before that have told you, hey, actually, it might be better off to doing that. That's wisdom, but it's also you saying, I'm gonna take your advice. I'm gonna do it.
Right.
That's a big thing.
It's hard, right,
it's
Joe?
hard,
I mean, like if someone says, "Look, Jordan, you're in the wrong."
Oh, I've heard that too many times in my life.
I hate that, right? Like
yeah.
no one. Like it's so easy to go to a mentor and they'll be like, "Man, you're doing a great job."
Yeah.
And I've gotten that before, but then there's been times where they've been like, "Look, you screwed up."
Yeah.
And you're gonna learn from this, but it's gonna be painful.
Yeah.
Like I remember like this is back like I was 2 years in my first job. I was in finance. I wore a suit tie every day, and like there was a threat of layoffs, and I worked for a huge company. I was like, and I remember like that fear of that, but like those moments, and like my mentor gave me some hard advice, and like, but it led to such a better place for me professionally.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's on the other side of opposition and challenge and sacrifice is generally the best things.
100%.
No one wants to go through that painful things. I'm one of those. I don't want to get.
Bro, I always say that. I was like, man, things that are tough and are hard are worth it, but I have to go through it. You know what I mean? Like, even though it freaking sucks and it's tough, man, think about how you're going to be at the end. Like, man, it was so worth it. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, And
I think the biggest thing, and I'm really thankful, I got parents that represented this every day of their lives. And some of my mentors do the same thing. It's just like, I don't work just to try to fill up a bank account or to fill up my asset list, but just trying to consistently serve others. I mean, my father was a perfect example. Like he's a doctor. You would never guess he's a doctor with the way he lived his life.
Wow.
Like he just was always given away.
Yeah.
And I just hope to be a reflection of what he's like.
That's great.
And so maybe that's too deep for this kind of conversation.
No,
that's
kind
of stuff that
I think that's a big thing to have as mentors. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Are all your mentors someone that you know personally, or are there some of them that because you said that you asked them questions and they were able to give you feedback?
Sure.
Not all mentors can do that, but do you have some that can't do that are just that don't even know who you are, but you learn so much from them?
As far as mentors?
Correct.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's people I read about and there's people I follow on different social media channels or LinkedIn or podcasts that have been influencing me in a huge way without ever meeting them. There's people that have passed away, C.S. Lewis or other just amazing apologetics that have influenced me in a positive way. And the coolest thing is you learn a lot about life when you just open yourself up to feedback and open yourself up actually to listen. Like we're sitting here, Joe, and we're talking a lot, but sometimes it's a lost art of just listening to people.
100%.
As a leader or as a
person.
friend.
Yeah, just as a person. I think so many times you get those conversations where like, hey, how you doing? Like, good. Oh, okay, cool, man. See you later. And that's it. And you're like, you don't really care how they're doing. You're just kind of, it's like a thing that, a word or a sentence that you use. But to actually care and say, hey, how you doing? And then listen to them like, oh, cool.
Right.
And then keep going with it.
Right.
You don't get that anymore too much.
And I think that's good. For me, that's just been the biggest thing. Like when I find those leaders, there's this guy that I met when I was an intern at a company, and his name is Rich Montwell. And,
shout out to Rich.
He's a very successful guy in Minnesota. Very successful.
Yeah.
I had no idea who he was. I was an intern. I had acne all over my face, a tie on, and I met him in the hallway. And I just said like, hey, would you be willing to have coffee? And I didn't know what he said, sure. Like put it on my calendar. And like I talked to his secretary like a month and a half later, I met with him, and I didn't realize who he was, but he took the time just to listen to me.
That's great.
At age, I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
And then it was after the fact that I learned that this guy is a gazillionaire, that this guy heads up all his things.
That's amazing.
And I think that's the coolest influences in your life,
that's so cool.
That powerful practice of listening and being available.
I love that.
Not letting your title set you apart, but instead using your title to influence others.
Have you heard of Gary Vee?
Oh yeah.
I feel like he's the same way, man. Like that guy, the reason why, I mean, he's successful because he's smart and works hard. But I think one of the biggest things is that he actually cares for people. Like some of the stuff he says, I don't even know if he's a Christian, but some of the stuff he says, like, that's biblical stuff. You know what he's saying? I'm like, bro, that's so real. Like, and then he just throws the F word, and I'm like, all right, cool, yeah, you know. I'm like, but it's fire, spice. Bro. It's fire. Like he's a great dude. Like I feel like, man, if we were to hang out and talk to each other, he'd listen, he'd give you like honest feedback, and he'd be a great mentor to have.
And that's what I love. I mean, like we all in our social circles, in our friend groups, in our families, have people that we can influence in a positive way. People that we should start listening to. And candidly, there might be some people that you should stop listening to too, right? I mean, that's true wisdom right there. Yeah. So,
you know, that's your life, and I think you do a great job listening and giving great advice. I've seen that with you since the day I met you. To be honest, just even at church, the way you lead and the way that you're able to actually listen, it's a great thing, and it's a great gift, and don't stop doing it.
Hey, thanks, man. But he's been far too kind.
I think another skill that you have, you're kind of wanting to talk about that, right? You have some special skills. You know, you're able to help people. You talk well with people, but what other skills do you have? What's another special skill?
Yeah. So unfortunately, you know, I didn't get the skills of athletics like Joe Martinez.
Oh, come on! Shout out to Play Me Bulldogs football.
Yeah, but I got the skill of music.
I play music too.
Yeah, well, you're a really talented man. Like, you got a great voice.
Thanks.
I hear it every time I like watch your little videos. I hear like auto-tune. Yeah. All the people want that. So unfortunately, like I got the gift of music, but I got it like the most inconvenient manner. Like it wasn't singing, it wasn't guitar, anything like that. It's just like I'm really good at the recorder.
Wow, he just pulled it out of his pocket for those that are not watching the video.
Yeah, so like I don't know. I was just in like ninth grade. I picked up the recorder and I realized like this is my gift. And unfortunately, the ladies of the world I don't think really appreciate it, nor do the fellas. But
the one that you find will be the one that would appreciate it.
I agree. So I'm just gonna like bust out, just a quick line here.
Let's hear a quick tune. Man, I love that. Keep going.
That's Lord of the Rings.
You know what's crazy? This is really crazy. Today, the song da, 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 da,
oh, such a good song.
It came up, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch Lord of the Rings tonight after this, and so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna watch Lord of the Rings.
Fellowship of the Ring, right there.
I'm gonna watch Fellowship of the Ring. Yeah, that was great, bro. That was great.
That probably is why I'm gonna be single my entire life.
No, I think that's a great icebreaker. If you carry that with you whenever you go on a first date?
I actually always have it on me at all points of times.
That's amazing, bro.
It's just, it's out of Anchorman, he pulls out that flute. It's a Yaw's flute.
Bro, I love Anchorman. I love other guys. I love Talladega Nights. I love it all.
So let's talk. I mean, I know we're close on time.
You're good. You're good.
So I think what the people really want to hear about is relationships, right?
Yeah, okay.
Is that what people want to talk about, or do we talk about COVID? I mean, I don't know what's more exciting. Like the pandemic.
COVID, I feel like we hear a lot about that anyways, all the time, every day.
Yeah. So I think what the people want to hear about is, Joe, like, tell us about like your biggest failure in the dating realm. Like, I want to hear about the time when you went out, like slugging away and just missed.
I mean, I've had a lot, to be honest. There's one recently, but I don't want to talk about it because she listens to actually the podcast.
Okay, got it.
So I don't want to bring it up. Maybe I should bring it up.
I think you should bring it up. Yeah. Let's do it.
Just we never talked about it.
Let's be real here.
I've talked about it before on mine, but there's more to the story now. And I've told you this before, but I won't talk to you again about it.
Talk to me about it.
So, of course, there was a girl that I asked to go on a virtual date during the pandemic.
Love virtual dates.
I messaged her like on a Saturday or a Friday, one of those days. She didn't message me back till that Monday, and that was the same day. And that was the day I said we should go on a virtual date on a Monday night.
Got it.
Pizza, wine, movie. Why not? She messages me that day. She says, "Hey, I'm actually busy tonight. I have a meeting or something to go to." I'm like,
sure.
All right, cool. When would be a good day for you? No response back. That was probably back in like March.
Sorry, man.
March or April. And then my birthday comes around in May 13th.
Shout out to 30-year-old Joe.
Let's go. Woo. Big 3-0. She texted me. She's like, happy birthday.
Oh, nice.
And right above that text is my text that said, what's a good time for you? So I'm like, I know you have to have seen this. Like, it says delivered. It's like, you had to have seen that.
Signed, sealed, delivered, bro.
You know what I mean? Like,
rejected.
I wanted to hear you say, either no. I'd rather hear you say no.
Right.
Than not have any kind of like answer to it.
Right.
Anyways, here's the part that that gets a bit difficult to talk about. And to be honest, I'm sorry I'm talking about it on here.
We're not going to say names. It's good.
I know, but she's probably, I don't know if she listened to it. Anyways.
Find out.
So she text messages me probably about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And she's like, hey, Joe, I've been watching your podcast. It's been great.
Episode 11.
Shout out to Let 'em Know with Joe, episode 1 through 11. Great episodes.
Solid episodes.
And she's like, do you have, I've been watching your podcast. Do you have time to go on a video call next week? I was like, first thing I think about, I'm like, oh crap, she watched my show. I talk about her on one of the shows. I know what I do. She probably want to talk about this. I'm like, cool, why not? Let's do it. I was like, yeah, let's do it next week around whatever. Anyways. So it gets to that day, right? And and I'm like, dang, all right, here we go. I'm ready to hear what she has to say, like why she ghosted me or whatever. I'm ready for this. So anyways,
the anticipation.
She texts me and she's like, hey, do you want to do a video call or phone call? I'm like, it doesn't matter. You can do whatever. So right at the time we said 7 p.m., I believe, or 7:30, she calls me. I'm like, right on time. I'm like, oh, cool.
Timely.
Punctual. That's great. It's a great trait to have.
Could be a red flag.
Oh, yeah, it could be. Yeah, because I like to be fashionably late.
Yeah.
So we're on the phone, right? We're talking. She doesn't do a video call. She does a regular phone call.
Classic.
She said video call before, but she does a phone call now. Yeah. Anyways, so
I want to see you.
So we're on the call, right? And we're doing small talk. I'm like, oh, cool. We're kind of like vibing, chatting about some stuff, whatever.
Okay. And
I'm like, when is she gonna get to the part that she's calling me about? Which is about my, her ghosting me.
Yeah. Her apologizing.
Yeah. Her telling me at least why. And then she's like, hey, so I wanted to ask you, she's gonna know who she is now for sure by seeing this, but she's like, because she actually recently moved, and she's like, hey, I'm doing this internship in the at this college, and it's like, it's not a paid internship, it's just volunteer, and I wanted to see if you would help support by paying $75 a month for a whole year.
Ouch. Oh my goodness,
bro! She did not even talk about like what I thought she was gonna talk about.
That is cold. Oh man.
So I was like, you know what? Hey, let me think about it. I'll let you know.
Let me pray about it.
Yeah, and then the next week I messaged her and I was like, nah, I can't do it. I really can't because I'm on a tight budget right now, trying to make sure I make the right decisions and everything I do.
Wow, I'm on behalf of the women of the United States and the world, which I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm sorry. It just seems.
Hey, I'll receive it. I receive that.
It hurts, man.
I'll still give her the benefit of a doubt. And
I don't think it was
just hopefully she just didn't know and it went above her head, or
yeah.
I don't know.
That hurts, man. That's a tough story. I'm sorry that you had to put that out there. But
I swung and I missed, and I swung again, I missed again, and I swung one more time, and I'm out.
That's a good rule of thumb.
It was the bottom of the 8th, last at bat.
Yeah.
And I lost the game.
Yeah. Clearly the Angels were not in the outfield in the situation.
Great movie, by the way.
Great reference there.
Great movie.
I figured you'd love that Astro fan. Astros could use some Angels right now.
They can use a lot more than Angels. They need God.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of probably
a pretty good story,
it
man.
just kind of sucks, but on to the next, I guess, right? On to the next. What about you, bro? What's swing and a miss
for me,
or just a really just bad mess up with the dating realm?
So I should confess, I'm a hopeless romantic.
Yeah, I knew that. Like, I know that.
Yeah, and I blame my sisters for this, actually. I'm the youngest of 4. I got a brother, oldest brother, and 2 sisters.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought you had 3 sisters.
Yeah. So, there's a guy in there that kept me, in check.
Yeah.
But, growing up Christian, we're just taught never to date, just wait for being married, and which is false philosophy.
I never understood that, man.
It's like, never talk to women.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Anyways.
I feel like that's something that still affects me to this day, to be honest.
They're like, hey, 3 feet for Jesus. I'm like, wait, how can you hold their hands if there's 3 feet?
Well, but not only that is because, like, I kind of get scared to talk to girls that I like because I feel like it's kind of bad. And so if I like a girl, I won't talk to her, but girls that I don't like, I'll talk to them like normal. Yep. And then the girls I don't like end up liking me because I talk to them normal, which they love.
Yep.
Anyways.
So, well, let me speak truth on that real quick, Larry, because the key to just casual conversation is to treat them the same, first of all. And like,
right.
we often, especially as Christian guys, I can't speak for the girls, but for Christian guys, for the girls we actually care about, we overthink it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's the thing about relationships. You know, like we overthink it. As I talked to you earlier, like we lost the battle before we even show up the first date because we're thinking, oh, this girl's perfect. She fit my family. Like you're then thinking about the flowers at your wedding. And you haven't even gotten to past the part of pursuing the girl.
Right.
And that's just such an important part. And I think that's something we all struggle with, and myself included. But I'm a hopeless romantic. And I've never shared this before in public, but we'll keep it short and then we can like sprint to the end here so I can just plausible deniability. But back when I was in Fort Lauderdale, Joe, there was this girl at our church I had a huge crush on. We had been on like 2 dates, maybe 3 dates. And at the time, I was traveling back and forth to actually California. So I'd fly out on Monday, and then I'd fly back to Florida on Friday.
Yeah, I think I remember you talking about this girl actually.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I haven't heard this.
Yeah, we'll see.
I haven't heard this though.
So this is during the summer, and I actually had I was in school at the time, so I had to fly to Germany for school.
Oh wow!
And so I was gonna be in Germany for a week and a half, and so, I flew out there. And I was talking to her before I flew out, and I was originally supposed to fly back on Sunday, and then on Monday I was gonna fly to California. But like, this is the girl I like; it's a dating girl. And so I was talking to her. I'm like, hey, would you be free on Saturday? Saturday night. And she says, yeah. I'm like, would you go on a date? She's like, yeah, good. I'm like, perfect. So I didn't tell her this, but like my flight was supposed to get back Sunday. And I'm like, well, now I got a chance to go on a date. And it was like the 3rd or 4th date. I was still excited, you know. I thought she'd be my wife. So I had to change my flight, which was too expensive. So I bought a new flight for $2,000 from Germany back to Miami.
No, you did not spend $2,000 to go on a date with this girl.
$2,000
on a third date.
On a third date. But me, man, and I blame some of the conservative growing up. Like I thought she was the one, man. I'm like,
jeez.
I thought that like, that this was gonna be the date that was like the turning point, So Germany, whatever. I flew out, Saturday morning. I landed back in Fort Lauderdale on 11 a.m. or something like that. I texted her. She texted me back. She's like, welcome back. I'm like, awesome. I'll see you at 6. She's like, yep. So I just been traveling for a few days. So I did the thing we always do. Like I go to the gym. I'm getting a pump on. I get some new clothes on. And I'm about ready to drive down to see her and pick her up when I get this text from her.
Oh. Gosh.
Yeah, it's always that text.
No.
And I was excited because I thought she was going to say, confirming the details. But she's like, hey, Jordan, I'm just feeling really down right now.
Oh, no.
She's like, I think I just need to have a night with me and Jesus. And which is totally fine.
I've used that one before. Definitely have.
And I was just like, and you can't say like that. Yeah. So I was like, well, I was hoping to make out with you tonight.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's totally cool.
Dang.
And I text my boy and I'm like, bro, what are you doing tonight? Like, I ended up going bowling that night. I spent $2,000 to fly back and go bowling with a guy.
With your friends, with the boys.
I never told the girl that story.
Oh my goodness.
That was my probably biggest fail. Not my biggest, but Joe, I never regret that because it's the girls, I don't know, girls are worth swinging for the fences for.
Yeah, for sure.
So sometimes you miss.
That was a big miss, but yeah.
Pretty big miss. Still trying to pay that flight off here.
I'm in debt to my eyeballs just because of that flight. Wow. Man, hopefully I'll get to that point where I can spend $2,000 on
I wouldn't recommend it, man.
Well, it'll definitely be past the 3rd date, 100%. She would probably have to be engaged for me to spend $2,000 to go see her.
Oh, man. You fail sometimes,
That was that the same girl that when you moved here, going back and forth? No, different girl.
Different girl. Yeah,
okay, fair.
Well, no, we can talk about that. But yeah, that was a different girl. But there's a trend, I suppose, with Jordan. But
so you're single now, man.
Yeah.
Let's get back to it.
Newly single.
I wanted to get back to that point because we said it was too soon, but now it's been about 30 minutes. So
yeah, now it's been 2 hours since the situation.
Was it mutual?
No, I don't think I wanted it to be over, but I was the one who had brought the conversation and kind of ultimately was the one who kind of called it out.
Yeah.
And it's super. I have not even unpacked this with myself really,
but it's all good.
But no, you're right. I mean, mutual is such an interesting perspective. I can be victim sometimes as a guy. I can't speak for the girls, but of ignoring signs that person may or may not be into you, and people leave breadcrumbs of like, hey, look, I don't like you anymore, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to learn as I get older, and just to be more aware of my own feelings, trying to be, and then be more articulate with explaining to them, or to girls. And so it's a work in progress, man. I mean, we can have an interview 2.0 in a few weeks. Where I can actually unpack it. And we can
maybe not 2 weeks, maybe like in a year.
There you go. We can whiteboard it. We can put together some Venn diagrams. But she's an amazing girl, and the best thing is she's a Christian girl, and like it ended in a way that like, hey, like there's no hard feelings necessarily. Like there's pain, there's sadness, but like I think that's a sign of a cool relationship and how it should be like.
It's a sign of maturity as well, because me, I feel like, I don't know, being in the Latino world, especially in Texas, because there's a lot of Latinos, and like talking to Latina girls, and especially when you're younger, you're a bit more immature, so anything like that would definitely blow up a lot bigger, make it to a bigger thing, and you won't talk to each other for a long time just because, and that's like very immature. But I feel like now that we're older, and now that you're able to have conversations and like have the hard conversations, I think it's so important to have those.
Right.
But you're like, you can walk away from this, which begins the whole chat that we've had before, having a conversation, walk away, being okay with, them saying not being into you and you being into them. Unfortunately, they're not into you. Like for me, I went to counseling. Or is it counseling? Therapy? What's the difference between them? Same thing?
I think one involves electrical shock.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Okay.
So it's the other one. I did it in Australia. It was free, part of our college, which is great.
That's awesome.
So I enjoyed it. So I'm like, why not do it? Take advantage of it. And one thing I learned that was really key was that people have the right to be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, we know this, but we don't actually know it and see it. And so like, for me, when I heard that, it was like, dang, okay, so if a girl doesn't like me, she has that right to not like me.
Yeah.
And she has the right to be happy and do things that make her happy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so like, for me, it's like, okay, now that I see that and put that into perspective, they get a choice. And if you get turned down, if you get hurt or whatever, it's not so much about you. It's more about them wanting to be happy.
Right.
And they have that right.
Yeah.
Same thing as you. You have that right too. You know what I mean?
That's so good. And I think that's really good. I mean, it's pain, right?
Yeah.
But like any good relationship is going to have risk and pain. And what I'm learning from this, Joe, is like, hey, I think counseling is a really good thing. I'm actually starting counseling next week.
Fire.
Which has nothing to do with this girl
situation. Is that
situation.
including your insurance?
No, I'm going to have to pay cash for it.
Shoo.
But for me, like, hey, we often see those things as bad things. But I think like, hey, like learning more about yourself and preparing and trying to make yourself better for your family or for your future relationships. Now that's an investment worth doing.
Bro.
I mean, my 401k might have a 10% return on investment, but like investing in myself from a personality or spiritual and emotional perspective with a counselor or reading or whatever else is kind of you want to work into. Now that return on investment's immediate and that's lifelong.
Yeah, for sure.
And something we normally don't want to talk about, right? Like no one wants to be like, hey, look, I'm getting counseled. And they're like, oh God, what's wrong with you?
I think it's needed. It's
needed, like
bro.
especially these days, like look, you turn on the TV, we started the conversation about this. You turn on the TV, we hear about the 5,000, 10,000 people that died from COVID.
Yeah.
We see masks around. Like there's stress on us that we don't know how it's impacting us. And the thing we all should be doing is make sure we're taking steps to take care of ourselves. And because by taking care of ourselves, then we can take care of others and just, Let
me ask you this. What's one big step that you think people are listening right now? They might not be Christian, so let's put that into perspective. Yeah. What's one big step that they can make right now that would make their life better, no matter who you are, no matter where you're at? It's a big question. Yep. But I'm sure you have the right answer. That's the first thing that came into your mind. What would the advice be for them?
That's a big question.
It is a very big question.
Yeah, and I think my answer is spiritual or agnostic. I think this is good.
But the atheists, they can't do this.
No, they can. Anyone can do this. I think the biggest thing you can do in this season is be intentional to look in the mirror and actually see what you see. And so many of us project this false image of ourselves. We project an image of the failure that happened at work or the girl that denied us,
ghosted me, yeah,
or the girl that, the relationship that failed. And so we see through the mirror not really ourselves, but we see this projection of whatever just recently happened to us. And I think in COVID, whether it's, hey, I'm unemployed, or whether it's, hey, like my family's struggling, or I'm sick, or I'm scared, or what's next. But instead, just looking through the mirror and be like, seeing what the truth is.
Yeah.
Like that, hey, look, like I'm still standing.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I have today.
Yeah.
Hey, look, there's another job. There's another hope. And that takes practice.
Yeah.
But I think it starts in that mirror in the morning when you're looking there. And then saying, okay, what am I doing with this day? And, I'm a big spiritual guy, so I think there's a lot of cool spiritual components I got to add in there. But like, I think whether you're spiritual or not spiritual, you can just be intentional right there.
Yeah. Man, that's so good. I was talking to one of my friends yesterday, and she just had an interview, and she got denied. And I told her playing around, I was like, hey, just know that denial determines who you are in life. Of course, I was playing around. But so many times we see it that way. You know what I mean? Even myself, if I were to do an interview and I got denied, I'm like, I'm not good enough. It's like, no, you're not. It's not that mean you're not good enough. It just means you weren't the right fit for that job. You know what I mean? And I think that's great advice. Like, just basically, hey, you're more than your career. You're more than how much money you make. You're more if you don't make any money. You're more than if you don't have a job. It doesn't matter because that's not who you are.
Exactly.
I think that's fire.
Those are indicators. But so I just think, hey, like, and the cool thing about the mirror is this. There's at least guaranteed 2 times a day when you look in the mirror. Generally, when people wake up in the morning, they look in the mirror. And generally, before going to bed, they look in the mirror.
Yep.
And I think those are 2 critical times in our days that we want to start and end the day with truth, with who you are, with your self-worth, with the opportunity that's in front of you. And now more than ever, I think we need to be intentional about that. Because then when you do that, then the cool thing is it shifts from an internal thing to then like when you know who you are, then you can encourage others.
100%. And you're confident.
And you could support your spouse or your friends or your coworkers. And so hopefully it's not too...
That's great advice. Great advice.
That makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. When you're talking about that, this Bible verse comes to mind, and I know we're bringing the Bible into this if you're not a Christian, but this actually is great advice for anybody that is. But this is a verse, I don't know where it's at. I don't know where it says it at, but it says, don't worry about tomorrow because tomorrow will have its own worries. For today, do what you got to do today. And I think that's so real. Like, don't worry about tomorrow because tomorrow's going to have its own things about it. But, hey, you're here right now in this life today. Do what you got to do today. Do the best you can and kill it. And just know that your circumstances, where you're at, what's affected you, your job does not determine who you are. You determine who you are, and that's fire. That's so good. Yeah. I feel like that's a perfect way to end there, right? I think so. I don't know how we can top that. No, yeah, that's great. I'm also out of like bourbon, so like either we're reloading or we're good. But thanks for being on, bro. I really appreciate it. Great chat. I love this. Next time you come, we'll have Stella on. Stella is his golden retriever. She's my life. She's my queen. Yeah, she's great. I love her. She's a great dog. Fortunately, we can't have her because we just got a brand new dog here and he hasn't gotten the shots. Yeah, Stella will be there next year. Don't worry. Yeah, for sure. But thanks for being on, bro. Really appreciate it. Great chat. I loved it. Hey, I want to remind everyone for the 5 people that are looking for a Joe cup. True. All you have to do is tag Jordan on. I'm going to buy it for you. I can't wait. Great. I can't wait either. Check it out. Thanks, excellent, bro. Well, thanks for having me on. For sure. You'll be on again sometime. Right on.